Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Greet your neighbors. Today's invitation will be given by Louise Key.
Today, I want to share an English translation of a poem that was written about 140 years ago and then set to music a few years later. You may have heard of it recently as the Prayer for Ukraine. It's being played in a little broader audiences recently. But the sentiments expressed certainly fit all of us in any country. Lord, O the great and almighty, protect our beloved country. Bless her with freedom and light of your holy rays. With learning and knowledge, enlighten us, your children small, in love pure and everlasting. Let us, O Lord, grow. We pray, O Lord Almighty, protect our beloved country. Grant our people and country all your kindness and grace. Bless us with freedom. Bless us with wisdom. Guide into the kind world. Bless us, O Lord, with good fortune forever and evermore.
Thank you, Louise. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's great to see such a full house today. It's always a good problem to have when we need to pull another table out of the closet. So, Mayor, I think this is probably the most we've had here in quite a while. So, couple of quick comments here. If you haven't already, make sure you get with Samira on the wine tasting April 5th. I'm told we're up to 57 people now, so that should be a great event for us. Brent also reminded me that a few years back, we actually had a group from the Ukraine that visited here and was connected with Worcester Rotary for the agriculture group that came to Wayne County. So I know there's a few of you that still kind of keep track of some of those folks online. So we're thinking about them and hoping that everything turns out well. Also, I'm just going to keep this brief, but I do have my Today in History for you today. So today in history, on February 28th, 1983, the last episode of MASH aired. So I remember watching that. I know some of you younger folks may not remember that, but I was there. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Secretary Lynn and the Secretary's report.
Thank you, President Terry. Ben Maybaugh has a traveling microphone, and we're going to start with Joel Montgomery from the podium.
I have two visitors today at the front table here. The City of Worcester's Finance Director, Andre Dordia. And the City of Worcester Law Director, John Scavelli.
And we'll start with the students. We have 3 exceptional students chaperoning 2 past presidents.
Scary thought. If you could stand. Here with the Internet Club, a few of their members. This is my daughter, Emma Horman, Lila Gaines, my other daughter, Carter Horman. So they're going to be talking to you a little bit about their activity with the clothing sale. Thanks to Mr. Rice for helping us keep that moving too.
Seth Buckwalter.
My guest today is a good friend, Rich Fishburne of B&H Hardware. He just informed me that they're doing their soft opening at the store down there at the old Rubbermaid building on Friday, so make sure to stop and check that out.
My guest with me is my dad, Tim Sugas, and he's the president of Wayne Insurance Group.
Greg Long,
My guest today is Jonathan Hofstadter, he's a fireman and township trustee.
Brian Boyer,
My guess is my wife.
Stand up.
Yes, yes. She is the brand new court administrator for the Court of Common Pleas here in Monroe County.
past President Mike Steiner,
I have two guests today, my sister Sally Marks Gordon and Doug Hurley, both from Seattle, Washington.
past President Ron Holden.
My guest today is Dr. Ken Schaefer, retired cardiologist at Worcester Medical Clinics. Ken is a new member.
And we have three announcements today, Emma and Lila, Chris Pycraft, and Ron Holden.
Hello, everyone. Final opportunity to talk about every Rotarian every year. Thank you to so many of you who have already participated. This will be the last time we'll be up here asking for money. We've talked about Paul Harris Fellow. We've talked about the good work that Rotary International does. And today I'll just bluntly ask for your contribution. Please consider donating. $100 is the amount that's requested. Any amount that you can give is appreciated. We thank you for your participation.
Hello, I am president of Interact for the Worcester High School.
And I am vice president of Interact as well, and we're here today to sell various clothing items.
Such as hoodies, hats, t-shirts, polos, and other various items which will be out back. Our goal is to raise money for various service projects that we can do around the community.
And we will be at the back of the room at the end of the meeting collecting order forms. We take cash or checks, and checks should be made out to the Rotary Club of Worcester.
We'd like to thank Mr. Rice for giving us this opportunity and allowing us to be more involved with the Worcester Rotary Club.
And thank you all, and have an amazing day.
With our mayor here today, I thought it would be appropriate that we briefly review the current status of our Oak Hill Park project. As you know, if you've read your recent emails, our project has 3 phases. The first phase was completed last spring when we transplanted 27 trees from the OARDC Arboretum to Oak Hill Park to create the Founders Row in memory of the Worcester individuals who founded our club over 100 years ago. I walked the park last week with Davy Tree and city officials and noted that those trees are all budding, indicating that they have survived the transplanting well. The second phase involves the planting of 50 more trees, mostly hardwoods, in a 3-acre parcel adjoining Founders Row. Davy Tree will be on site within the next 2 to 3 weeks, weather permitting, to remove any invasive trees and plants. Then the 50 new trees will be planted by Davy. Phase 3 involves the construction of what we're calling the Grove, which is a scenic area to be built off the main trail to recognize our members who have served the club for more than 50 years. This area was designed by Lucas Landscaping and is expected to be built later this year, depending on our fundraising efforts. All of this work, including tree selections, has received the approval of the city's Urban Forestry Commission. And incidentally, we have 3 Rotarians on that commission: Steve Webster, chair. Raise your hand, Steve. Ray Lizzie, secretary, and Alan Kiefer are all part of that commission. That's how we got approval. Mr. Mayor, all of this planning and work has been done with the considerable assistance of the Davy Tree Company and Worcester City employees, Roger Kobelarsik, Kurt Denning, Mark Nussbaum, Brian Fortune, Dan Yarnell, Joel Montgomery, and the many others who work on city crews. We're very fortunate to have their assistance. I'd like to just pause and give a round of applause to the city folks who are here today. Now for the business part of this announcement. On my property, there is an oak tree which I suspect is more than 150 years old. The area was once pasture and actually was originally part of what is now Tony Biggio's farm across the road. While the surrounding woods was timbered decades ago, I suspect the oak tree was left there to provide summer shade for grazing cows. The tree is now surrounded by young oak trees spawned by that old giant. It's a legacy left to our generation by a farmer long gone, even though he likely never envisioned the future for that tree. The plans we've set in motion at Oak Hill Park will create a forest none of us will ever see fully grown, but which will no doubt be enjoyed by our great-great-grandchildren. Hopefully at the 200th anniversary of our club, our members will look back with pride at the result of our generosity. As you know from your email last week, we are currently seeking funds for planting the new trees in phase 2. For $500, you can be part of this heritage by purchasing a tree in honor of someone, or you can contribute any amount of money to help defray the cost. I'm glad to tell you this, that you can even contribute more than $500 if you want. You have all the detailed information in your email. You know the drill. Send in your checks. Thank you.
Welcome to all of our guests today. I hope you enjoy the camaraderie of Worcester Rotary and enjoy the program today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joel Montgomery to introduce today's speaker.
Well, good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Robert F. Brenneman today. Even though 2021, we were still seeing effects of COVID as an organization, in our community and our businesses, Bob still kept us focused on city services and growth of our city. That didn't change. And as Bob leads us through our his fourth term as mayor, his consistency and focus on Worcester's well-being in the city and his dedication to its economic base and its citizens is evident. Most of you have probably heard multiple State of the City addresses. So you know that during Bob's 14 years of mayor, he's led us through a lot of challenges. Great Recession, 2008, 2009, state budget and local government funding cuts in 2010, and of course the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and 21. But through all this, he's led us to some of the strongest growth we've had in years, and his dedication to maintaining and improving our services is really never wavered. Bob was born and raised in Worcester, grew up in a house on Oakley Road. He attended Layton Elementary, Edgewood Junior High, and Worcester High School, graduating in 1974. He attended Wittenberg University, graduating with a degree in theology in 1978. And he taught science in suburban Columbus for a couple of years before returning to Worcester and founding Ponderosa Consulting, an oil and gas production business. Bob's the fourth child of J. Clyde Brenneman, an industrial engineer at Ruppermaid, and Lucy Brenneman, a homemaker. Bob's father, Clyde, was mayor of Worcester from 1983 to 1994. Bob is married to Amy Brenneman, daughter of our fellow Rotarians Ted and Sue Crawford. Two of his three children have moved back to Worcester, and all three either live or work in Worcester at this time, and his grandkids. Bob served 2 terms on the Worcester Planning Commission before being elected to the first of 2 terms as city councilman. He was elected mayor in 2007, re-elected to a 2nd term in 2011, and a 3rd term in 2015, and then his 4th term in 2019. So as of 2021, Bob will have served the citizens of Worcester for 26 years. He's either an appointed or an elected official. He was the first mayor to serve 3 full terms as mayor, and now the first 4-term mayor. So 2022 marks the 15th year he's given a state of the city. So he's got at least 1 more, maybe 5. I don't know. So I've worked for the city for almost 22 years now. I've worked closely with Bob for the last 15. And it's my pleasure to welcome Mayor Brenneman to Rotary today to give us State of the City.
Wow, you made me tired listening to all of that. It's been a while since I got a chance to serve our city. So it's truly such a pleasure to do exactly that, to serve our city. It's a wonderful place. I can't think of any place better than Worcester, Ohio. If I could, you guys should fire me. So I think you should be happy that I hold our city in the highest of regards. So we're here to talk about our goals for 2022, which has already started, but then also to look back at 2021 and sort of hit the highlights of a very interesting year, as I'm sure all of you recognize. But hey, we're on this side of that. Things are definitely getting better as far as the COVID numbers, so that's a great thing, and hopefully we'll just keep right on chugging forward. So the slide that's up here in front of you right now is just sort of a collage of our downtown and things that have happened around the city in 2021. So just some fun pictures of places you will fully recognize. We will touch on all of those here in a little bit. We'll start out with the goals for our city. This is something that I do and definitely collaboration with our administrative team because we have to budget to make things happen. And so we start looking at these in the fall of the preceding year. So summertime, our managers start putting together their wish list for the budget coming forward. And then we as an administrative team get those and then pare it down to what we feel we can afford. And then city council passes the budget by the end of the year, which they did at the end of December last year. So that generates where I start looking at our goals, but then I always have a couple that I want to challenge us as a community to try to bring forward and to try to make us a better place to live and continue pushing the envelope to make us so. So these are the 7 goals that we have outlined for this year. You all have a piece of paper on the table that has those on one side and then something called the micropolitan ranking on the other. So you can see them there, but just to quickly look down through these, Oak Hill TIF district, new infrastructure, renovate and modernize Fire Station 1, major road improvements, Worcester Bike Trail, the Woo for You, which I'll explain a little later, business attraction to Worcester, helping the community return to a normal existence, and then just sort of a status report on the Milltown Road area, community center, and Christmas Run Pool that I had mentioned in last year's State of the City. So we'll start out with Oak Hill TIF District. TIF stands for Tax Increment Financing, and it's a tool that helps to develop areas of your community without being punitive to some of the groups that usually would have to take a bit of a step back as far as taxing if other methods were used. So this is something that should not harm the other players that we have to work with all the time and we fully support, like Worcester City Schools, the county, the township, or the city of Worcester, because tax increment financing is on the growth of the tax value of properties. And so we had to set up a district. So that's what's in front of you here. The yellow line marks the district boundaries that we are putting together. This isn't set in stone yet, but we're getting close. We have talked to people in this area who might want to be involved in the TIF district. And so this is something that's in front of City Council. The council has already approved the timeline for moving forward. It'll probably be this summer, probably June, before we actually have a TIF district in place, because there are touchstones we have to hit at certain periods between now and June. So you're going to be seeing and hearing about it for the next 3 or 4 months easily until it's actually in place. But this is something that's taken a lot of time. We've actually been working on it in the background for over 2 years now. It's in front of council. The yellow lines are the boundaries. The red lines show the road infrastructure that will be improved because of a TIF. So Oldman Road and a roundabout at Oldman and Oak Hill is planned that will be paid for by the TIF. And then also a roundabout up at Milltown and Oak Hill Road that'll be, again, paid for by the TIF. So those are 2 major road constructions. The Oak Hill will be widened and improved so that it will be a much nicer city road than what it is right now with the curb or with the ditches on each side of the parts north of Oldman Road. And then one of the major factors is the sewering of properties. I know that's not a fun topic after lunch, but hey, it's a reality, and it doesn't happen unless you have things available to help incentivize people spending money to do like housing developments or other type of developments. So the green lines are the sewerage systems that will be put in place because of the TIF and to make the TIF work. There is one down on your left-hand side of the slide. It says Oak Hill Lift Station. That is about a $500,000 lift station to construct, and then the piping to get up to the level ground where we can go into gravity. It's been an impediment for housing developments to move forward in this area. So that's one of the big things in the sewerage part that we need to construct. And then I'm sure we will see some housing being constructed. Planning wise, housing is the best use of this property or these properties in this area. We are desperately in need of housing in Worcester, so we're hoping that will help the whole thing. So that's the first thing, and probably the most important to start up with. Next is fire station number 1. This is our second goal, to modernize it and to improve it. It's a 61-year-old building. It was built in 1961. So it served our city well. And if you think about it, fire departments back in 61 were all men. They slept in a big bunk room next to each other. It was almost like a fraternity type of setup. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have internet. I mean, everything has changed so much since 1961. Well, our fire station still has all of that old appeal to it, and it needs to be modernized. And that's why we have taken this under for this year. We have budgeted $3 million to do that. We all have already started working with the architect and engineers and laying the property out. And it fits our safety net of fire stations that serve our city. We have 3. Station 1 is in a perfect area for our downtown and southern part of the city. Station 2 is up at the safety center, and it is our newest one and hits the north end of our city and a lot of the residential neighborhoods. Station 3 is out on 585, right close to the Aldi store there, and it serves neighborhoods there, but also our industrial scope of the city. We have a lot of industry in that portion. So that's goal number 2. There it is. Goal number 3 is major road improvements. We have 2 of them slated and budgeted for this year. The first is on Melrose Drive. Council approved that on February the 7th to move forward with the procedure to bid the process. The construction will probably start mid-summer, maybe early to mid-summer. And it is going to improve it to a city street. So it'll have curb and gutters, storm sewers, sidewalks, a bike trail, and street lights on that section from Milltown Road northward to Smithville Western. So a major street for us. It carries a lot of traffic, and it'll be being improved here this summer into 2023. It's going to take probably two construction seasons to get this done. So heads up on that. The other is the Dix Expressway. I'm happy to say that we are not paying for that with city dollars. It's an ODOT project. It costs about $35 million to fix the Dix Expressway. So we are paying for it through our state taxes, but not our city taxes on that one. So that one definitely has served our community well, and it definitely needs some improvements if you've driven up and down the Dix Expressway recently. So they're going to start probably March or April 1st is the start date, or possibly earlier. So those are 2 of the major street improvements that we're going to do. There it is. Worcester Bike Trail. This is something that we got marching orders from the comprehensive plan that we did in 2014. In fact, that was the time that we had our income tax passed, and it went into effect at the start of 2014. And so we said, ask the community, what do you want? What should we be doing as a community? And the community gave us back in survey results. They wanted better connectivity in town. So ways to get around that didn't involve automobiles. So biking, walking, hiking trails, any of those modes that they said, that's what we want. So this is our 4th goal. It's still an expansion mode. We have really good trails on the east side of the city along 585. In fact, that was our first in town. And then we connected down to Melrose and put a trail in on Melrose up to Milltown Road, and that'll be extended with the Milltown or the Melrose expansion. And then we have a little bit of a gap in between the Melrose section and one that comes over on Friendsville Road. Then we have a whole network that comes down Friendsville Road, picks up Oak Hill Park, and then comes down through the College of Worcester to our downtown. So that's our main central trail of the city. And then we are looking to have another trail formed on the western edge of the city that we don't have right now. So the bike trail is one of these goals. We are going to plan for a western trail someplace between, we have 3 major parks out in that area. So we have Oak Hill Park, Christmas Run Park, and now Clear Creek Park over on Venture Drive. And so if we can connect all of those into a trail and then loop that trail into the downtown, that's what we're trying to do. Also, we're working on a connection between the downtown and up on Seacrest Road, where OAR, DC, and OSU campuses. So that is the last piece of our whole trail network to come together. I'll talk about that piece between Melrose and Friendsville in just a second when I talk about the catch up from last year. The next goal is Woo for You. I hear from lots of people that employees are really important to our city right now, and it's been hard finding those. So housing is an important component for that, but I also hear from some of the younger generation, kids that have either graduated high school or college and are coming to the workforce for the first time in their life for a real full-time job. That group, I call them the 18-year-olds to the 32, 33-year-olds, so that about a 15-year range in there. lot of folks have a hard time integrating into a new city. And so it's hard to set up a new friend network. It's hard to make acquaintances. It's difficult, even for people that have grown up here in Worcester, because when they moved away to college or something, they come back, everything's different. So I fear we lose a group of people that really could be valuable to our city, the ones that know it the best, who grew up here. And so what we need to do as a community is to help make those connections. And I've asked Ashley Hirschberger in our rec world, she's our rec manager now, and her team to take this on as an organizing entity so that we can help people find ways to get connected. The Young Professionals by the Chamber has been a great player for us, and they are one that we want to help those connections happen. Churches have helped in those connections. Service clubs like this have been great in that. But I think we need to try to make getting reacquainted and reestablished in the community a much more enjoyable, friendly thing to do. So that's one of the fifth goals. Business attraction into Worcester. We've had a lot of success, as Joel had mentioned, that we have had great economic development stuff. And here's something that it really says we'd have. There's a group called Polycom that does rankings of micropolitan and metropolitan areas. Polycom is one of the ranking agencies, and they just came out with their site selection, their micropolitan rankings for 2022 on February 4th. Worcester was named as number 14 out of a bank of micropolitans of 543 throughout the nations. So actually a very high position, and it also is stated, looking at all the micropolitans in the state of Ohio, Worcester is number 1 out of 23 different micropolitans in the state of Ohio. So something to be very proud of, and it's a really high accolade, and it really came out of the blue. I mean, it's all metric driven. We don't pay anything to be a micropolitan ranked or any of that. So really good things. And we have another one coming out. Site Selection Magazine is coming out probably mid-March, and they rank also. Last year, we were ranked number 7 in a tie with Fremont, Ohio. And so again, very high ranking when you're considering we're a pool of 543 different micropolitans. So this is great news for us. It helps us to attract businesses. It helps us to attract people. So that is one of the goals, is keeping that ranking strong. Returning to normality. Boy, this is a vague goal, and I hate to give vague goals, because how do you put any metrics behind this if you succeed or don't? But boy, that's something that I think all of us in this room and all of this in the world are trying to find is what's normal again, because we had such good things going, and then all of a sudden this pandemic hits and knocks us out of normal for 2+ years. So one of the things that we have to do as a community is to reconnect with folks, get that web put back together that made Worcester Worcester. So our hospitals and medical community, the educational components of our city, both public schools, colleges, vocational, the downtown businesses and restaurants, religious, cultural, and entertainment venues, and manufacturing and job creating sector. These all have been impacted. And so the city is a governmental agency, I realize that, but we as a governmental agency need to be as helpful in all of these sectors as we can to try to create that new normal again to where we were. So that's something that is a goal for us this summer and this year. So those are the 7 goals. Status update. Here are the 3 that we still have hanging from last year. This is the one piece on the left, the Milltown Road Bike Trail. This is the one I said I'd flew in later between Milltown and Friendsville Road. This is one that we have been trying to get through. We've been looking for grants. In fact, we did a grant application in 2020, and we did not reach a level to be funded through that. So we tried again in 21, and we were successful at achieving an $836,000 grant to help construct this Milltown Road Bike Trail. Jonathan Millay and Roger Kovalarczyk were instrumental in getting that application put together for us. The only trouble is the timer. When you get a grant, you have to play by when the money's available, and the money for this won't be available until July 1st of 2023. So that's the reason we haven't done that connection piece, is we've gotten state dollars to help us do that. And so we'll be looking at getting a lot of the behind the scenes work done so that we can start construction on July 1st of 2023. The community center. This is near and dear to my heart. I would like to see this happen. I'd love to have a way to expand the facility that we have, because it works very well for what it has served the purpose for since 1974, I think is when it was constructed. But we're outgrowing the building. So we've been working on getting the adjacent land around so we can expand the building, and we have achieved that for most of the property surrounding the community center. So we've taken a large step forward with that. But it's going to probably be in the $3 to $5 million range to upgrade our community center. And with the $3 million fire department that we've got reconditioning this year, we decided we've got to take a step back here. So still something we'd love to have happen, but we're just sort of being more frugal about how we move forward on the community center. And the other one, the Christmas run pool planning, I told folks a couple of years ago that we've got gremlins in the Christmas run pool walls, the brackets that hold the walls. The stainless steel panels were only made out of regular steel, and they have rusted away. So we've been fixing them as time allows and money allows, and we know it is safe to use. It will be open this summer again to help our community, just as last year. And so it's coming. It's going to have to be done here in the near future, but the trigger doesn't have to be pulled yet on that. So just something to keep in mind. Here's a couple things. I'm going to speed up on this because this is fast. Google Maps. I'm sure everybody in this room's used them at one point or another. Here's a map with green and orange lines. This is a map of our city. And here's something that actually Jonathan Millay tipped me off on. And I walked into his office and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, check this out." As of that morning, which was February the 4th at 8:23 a.m., this was up on his screen. And I said, "What's that mean?" I said, "Yeah, I know it's our city." He said, "Well, the green lines are Google Maps that measures how fast traffic is flowing as of that minute." And he said, "Look at the green lines. Those are all city streets." Well, the funny thing about this is we just had that major snowstorm of 8 to 10 inches of snow, and things were moving very slowly in our community. And so to have those places looking green, meaning normal traffic rates, and that means our streets have been cleared and in good condition. The orange ones are traffic is moving slower than normal. So the inference that there's snow on the road and people aren't moving as quickly. Well, the state routes, so Route 83 on the left, Route 3 in the middle, and Route 585 on the right-hand side, all were moving slower than normal. So I know the state routes, they got a whole bunch of roads to clear. So I'm not trying to throw stones at anybody. I'm just using technology to help us see into the future on things. County roads, Smithville Western, it goes horizontal across the top, and then Back Orville Road are both in city and then out of city roads. So they weren't traveling quite as fast. So So it's just fun technology for the future here. Cost of cleaning up that storm was $80,000 in just plowing. And we used 1,843 miles of truck traffic. For that, that's like driving from Worcester to Daytona Beach and back. So a lot of effort went into getting that thing put together. Here are revenues. I'll flip through these quickly because this gives, oops, I'm sorry. This just gives you the high sign that we're doing well. The up lines are always a good feature when you see that on one of these things. Here's our investment. These are our business type funds, storm sewer, water, and sanitary sewer, where you actually get a bill for those, and then general government, which your income tax pay for. This is how we're doing our city building and capital funding here. And then here's the last slide. This breaks it down so you see personnel costs in the orange on the bottom, operation and maintenance in the gray in the center, and then the debt service, which is that little yellow piece in there, which is a very good thing. And then capital transfer are the blues. So again, a good story to tell. We can answer any of that at question time or any time you want. Here's to show you just some of the things we accomplished in our city over the last year. This big old sludge tank cost $2 million to build. It's down at our wastewater recovery plant. This helped make the smells go away from our downtown area of the city. It has been in use since summer of 21 and has worked very well. We used to have to store our sludge in open air lagoons. That's the way it's been ever since the plant started, but now we store the sludge in airtight container until they can be hauled off to the farm fields. Gojo Industries were celebrated on May 19th. Lester Holt of NBC came to Worcester and did a tour of the plant out on 585. That was the old Rubbermaid plant and now is happily the Gojo plant for us. And that plant on 585 is the largest producer of Purell in the world. And so in a pandemic, that was a pretty busy place. And they highlighted it on NBC's Across America series on May 19th. Minglewood, and Mark and Deb and Andrew Morrison are recreating the old Minglewood Ice House. We said with our building standards team that, ooh, this isn't in very good shape. You guys may want to reconsider, putting a lot of money into fixing this up, but they said, nope, we can do it. And they are. They've done a great job of saving that old building. They're expanding an indoor event space and an outdoor patio area, along with production and bottling areas of the business. The one thing I didn't know but I found out is Ohio has a Bourbon Trail, and it runs between Cleveland and Columbus and then probably down to Cincinnati area. But Worcester, if you draw on the map, this sits right in between those two big cities. And we have a distillery now that creates bourbon. So chances are we may see an uptick in visitor traffic just because we're halfway point between those places. So that has really helped our East End, which we're calling our entertainment district, along with Muddy's and JFab and the Liberty Bell Apartments and the Mariola Italian restaurant that's coming. Let's see, Worcester Brush doubling in size. This to me had to be the biggest news in our community last year. And it's biggest because it's huge, 600,000 square plus feet. It's the biggest building Worcester has ever built in one single step. And we have bigger buildings, but they've been piecemealed over time. So congratulations to Worcester Brush, and thank you guys for staying local and expanding in our city. It's a huge thing for us. Groundbreaking was October 20th of last year, and things are moving up already. I know the footers are in the process of being poured out that way. So congratulations, guys, and we thank you for the investment. There we go. Melrose Housing Development. You probably heard about this last year. 141 units. Lemon Development is doing that, and it is going to move forward this spring from what we've been told. Thank yous and welcomes. Michael Tefts left Worcester City Schools and went to Revere. Gabe Tudor came in as the new superintendent. Tom Kukas left the WEC and went to Louisville. Thank you. As a director over there, and Mary Beth Burns retired from Smuckers and became the new chair of WEDC, and Sally Patton did the Community Foundation, chaired that, and she retired, and Melanie Garcia is the new president of the Community Foundation. Jeff Baddock was our recreation manager. After 29 years, he said that it was time to retire, and so he did at the end of last year, and Ashley Hirschberger became our new person there. Worcester Community Hospital celebrated being a 7th-time winner of the Fortune IBM Watson Top 100 Hospitals. It's truly a very high honor based on metrics. So that's a great thing for our community. They also won a Baldridge Silver Award of Excellence and the Area Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year. So it's hard to believe they did all this and still dealt with COVID very expertly in our community. Land banks, this is something the county started and the city joined in with on August 17th of 2020. It's doing great things for us. We've had a lot of homes that would get underwater financially, and we'd end up as a community having to tear them down. Land bank allows the back taxes to be forgiven and wiped clean, and then that lets the house go to a point where it could be fixed up and put out for sale. So we've had 2 houses last year that worked at 329 College Avenue and 358 West Laurel Street. Clear Creek Park is open and has a pavilion now, so we are looking to have a ribbon cutting here this spring when the weather decides to behave. This is a really nice park. I just walked it yesterday, in fact, and paved trails, paved parking lot, rather flush restrooms, nice pavilion. The picnic tables will be in there soon. So check it out if you get a chance. It's a great addition. Thank you to Dick and Judy Steeman Foundation for helping make that happen. Liberty Bell, this is going to be having a groundbreaking here very soon from what I've been told by the crew. This is going to be right beside Muddy's, and really great expansion of our entertainment district. Ratio was a wine shop that opened in the year. The General David Worcester went up in July 24th. So a nice addition, and Jason Anderson really is to be congratulated for working so hard to make that happen. Here is, to me, the second most important thing that happened is, and Rich Fishburne, thank you so much. We are so indebted to you and to your whole team that makes that happen. It's keeping our downtown strong. So here is a huge building sits right on our square, and first 3 floors are going to be hardware and goods to be purchased. The top floor is going to be for the administrative offices. So super thing. We're looking so forward to having this open up and go. We rose in numbers. We grew as a community, 27,232 from it was 26,119 in 2010. So 4.6% growth rate. That's actually a good rate, but not horrible. Horrible in that it's explosive, because that can kill a community too. Southwest Quad's done. Skidnell Properties, another business at our business park, coming and goings of others on council. Bill Bostancic and John Ansel retired, and Bob Reynolds and Barb Knaplik joined back in, along with Scott Myers and Jen Ward. Lowry Center expanding, which is great. Who is this? Rotary. Oh my gosh, Rotary. You guys are to be highly congratulated on how to celebrate. You go big when you have 100th celebration going on. So thank you for the notoriety of one of the biggest flags in the state of Ohio. That's what I've been told. Is that about right, Justin? I remember saying that. So that was one great thing. And then the Rotary Grove that was talked about earlier today too, and the expansion there. So nice job, Rotary. We couldn't have done it without you, and we look forward to many other fun things coming. Ray and Associates expanded their downtown offices, beautiful site. It's right beside Weaver Custom Homes, who put condos up. And what better than 5 condos of Weaver Custom Homes? It's 10 condos of Weaver Custom Homes. They're building 5 more over on Walnut Street behind it. Nutcrackers on the Square. This is downtown, the celebration of the holidays. Here's the $5 farm that we put together, and it's worked exactly the way we were hoping it would. So we've got a really good run. We've got 2 major companies out there already, but we have 117 acres left out there. So if you need to expand someplace, give us a call. We'll be happy to talk to you. Dominion Gas Line, this was a hidden thing that was affecting all of us. You didn't know about it, which is a good thing, because once you know about it, then we've got real problems. The gas supply into Worcester was very, very tight. In fact, I had businesses and new buildings opening that could not get natural gas into them because they hadn't given a clue that they needed it. So this thing that's going up on Friendsville Road, it came over off of Melrose Drive, is an expansion of Dominion's gas line that will help our community for decades to come. So thanks to them, that was huge. Authenticated site, we finally made that. We are considered a authenticated site by Jobs Ohio. It took us over 2 years of trying to accomplish this. We got that designation as of January 28th of this year. So with that, I am done and be happy to entertain any questions if there is time. So thank you for letting me tell our story to you. Thank
Would you be willing to take questions after me?
Absolutely.
Okay. If anybody has any questions, certainly come up after the meeting. At the risk of adding to your collection of token gifts, I'm going to present to you today our rendition of the Rotary Wheel with our 4-way test on the back. This is made locally by the Village Network.
Great. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you for that important update on the city, and we do appreciate, the club appreciates our partnership with the city and some of our very visible projects that we discussed here today.
Nice. Wonderful.
Just a quick reminder, next week our speaker will be Dan Rice. He's the Executive Director of the Ohio and Erie Canal Trail. We'll also have a classification talk from one of our new members. Also apparel sale, so that the young ladies will be outside. If you don't have a check with you today, take an order form and bring it in next week. We'll be here next week as well. And then make sure you get signed up for the wine tasting social. So have a good week, Rotarians. We stand adjourned.